Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for creating and helping to support top producers all over the nation. And so we are here today with one of our partners here locally in our Powered By community, which is Tampa Bay Real Producers here in our local market. Many of you know that we have partners who support Tampa Bay Real Producers in our local market. Without those partners, we wouldn't even be able to exist as a platform. So those make up our mortgage lender partners and our title partners and our home inspection partners and many others, about 25 different industries that support us here at this local level. And today we get to hang out with one of our mortgage partners, Mr. Greg Matthews with Matek Mortgage. What's up, Greg?
How we doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. Doing well. Good to have you on the show.
Feeling great to be
My
here,
man
man.
Greg had to drive all the way from Fort Myers to be here today. Is that right?
That's right. We're coast to coast, man. We cover everywhere in Florida.
Coast to coast, like butter and toast. Here we go. So we got Greg on the show, and we appreciate your support, of course, not just in Tampa Bay. I know you were saying off camera that you guys also work with a different entity, I guess, different brand, but in Orlando.
In Orlando, yep.
And is that the only other real producer market?
It is currently.
Okay.
Yep.
You do know we have one in Fort Myers too.
I do. Yeah. There's a mega powerhouse mortgage professional that's a part of that group, but I'm slowly starting to get my way in. So I'm from Orlando originally, Don.
Yep.
We've grown the business in Orlando probably the last 5, 6, 7 years, and just in the last 2 years, I've moved down to Fort Myers. So as I was explaining to you before, we're trying to get in that Tampa market, Fort Myers, maybe even over to the East Coast, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, just kind of trying to expand out a little bit.
For sure. So let's tell a little bit about your background for how you eventually got started with kicking off Matek. But what were you doing prior to that, and how long you been in this finance world?
Yeah, so got right into the mortgage industry kind of right out of college. Went to college, played baseball, didn't know what I really wanted to do with my life. And right once I graduated, had a business degree. It's like you can go a bunch of different directions, right? And so applied to a job at ADP for payroll services and Wells Fargo as a mortgage processor.
Okay.
Got an offer to both, and they were the same compensation. I'm like, you know what? I don't really think payroll's gonna be that cool. Even if I hate mortgage, I'll probably learn something because I want a mortgage one day. And stumbled into that in 2016, and the rest is history. Started as a processor, got into being like a loan partner, a junior loan officer, and then eventually became a loan officer. Got into sales myself. Now we've built a team, and it's been crazy to think that I always think of myself as the young newbie in the industry, and I'm coming into my 9th year now. So it's pretty wild.
You don't even look that old yet, man. It's crazy.
We're just right out of college, so that's what helped me is that I got an early start. But what also hurt me early is I'm trying to sell somebody a mortgage,
right?
And they're
who's this baby face
guy?
They're
an adult with like a real job, and I'm over here like, hey, you want to buy a house with me? They're like, how old are you? Don't you have high school? Or
are you getting an allowance still?
Yeah, exactly. So it was pretty wild. No, and that was something that
where'd you go to school?
You said to combat that. So I'm from Orlando originally. I went to college at Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama.
Played ball there?
Yeah, played ball there, and then transferred to a small school in Jackson, Mississippi. Got my MBA there, Millsaps. I milked that 5th year of college.
Nice.
For sure. So.
Did you play baseball all 5 years?
I did, yeah.
Nice.
So I had a year off.
I'm a baseball fanatic myself. I love it.
Yeah,
I played a little bit in school. My boys now are kind of passing that thing off, so where I'm coaching the Land O'Lakes Little League season up there. So
awesome.
we're having some fun with that for sure.
Yeah, a lot of days I spent at the ball field, man. Good time.
Yeah, no doubt. I enjoy it. We had a game last night actually, and they won 7-3. So 3-0 so far in the year, Greg. 3-0 so far. We'll see how things shake out.
Love it.
So you were saying that you had this experience with Wells Fargo first, and then what year? Just a couple years ago, you started Matek, right?
I actually just started Matek in April of 24, so it's not even been a full 12
not even a full
months.
year yet.
Yeah,
cool.
So I was coming from a prior employer that I worked for in Orlando for about 7 years. They were independent brokerage, and I was like, you know what, I can kind of do this on my own. I wanted to have more control, run my own P&L. So we are underneath a financial services company, Empire, but basically the model is I kind of run a small little royalty to them. They help cover with compliance and some other payroll things, and then really everything as far as being a branch manager is on me. And so it's an interesting model. It's kind of that in between business owner and also being a loan officer, which I knew that eventually I wanted to be a business owner, and this was that great segue that I didn't want to just jump off into the deep end and open up my own brand or my own company fully and not know what I was doing. So I was like, okay, I can start to learn how the sausage is made behind the scenes on the mortgage stuff, while also still being a loan officer. And I mean, not even 12 months, man, we feel really great about, where we're at right now.
Very cool. So would you classify yourself as a broker then? Are the products and services you have outside of the scope of just Empire? Or
correct.
You're not an in-house lender.
Exactly. We're not. We're a broker, so we have access to over 90 different lenders we're signed up with. And that's one thing that not a lot of people that I think like real estate agents and home buyers hear like, oh, don't just go to your local bank because they only have their products. Like you should go to a broker. But what people don't understand is if I was to be a true independent broker like Matek Mortgage, Greg Matthews, and not have Empire support, I'd have to pay fees and go through different compliance and all these things to get signed up with all these different wholesale lenders and be a broker. Empire already had their portfolio of 90 lenders. So as soon as I signed up, Matek Mortgage under Empire, I got access to all these different lenders, bank statement loans, construction to perm, renovation loans, obviously all your standard conventional govy and all that stuff. So just a lot more options for buyers, basically.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so the main motivation for you to start Matek was that just to kind of like grow that business, and what's the vision for Matek look like? Do you see yourself just growing this brand for many years to come, or where's that vision take you?
Yeah, exactly. It was more or less, I was like, hey, I've seen a lot of guys and gals, colleagues in the industry that were loan officers for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years, just grinding. And I was like, although that's great and I do love being a loan officer, I wanted to build. And I realized that like the CEO of the prior company I worked for, that is who I wanted to model, my life and my career growth after. He was somebody that started as a loan officer in his 20s like me, and now he ran a company of 100 employees, 60 loan officers, and 40 operations staff. And I was like, that's what I really want. So now we have a team of 6.
Okay.
And that's where the plan is in the next 5 years to be at 20, and then from there, just continue to grow this thing. And I don't want to go too fast. I don't think I'm not Matt Ishby over here. I don't know if that is. He's the owner of the Phoenix Suns and the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage.
Name, yeah.
So they are a massive conglomerate lender. I'm not necessarily wanting to just grow it to this massive, huge thing, but I wanted to kind of get into a position where I could be a leader and help other loan officers grow. And that's what we have right now is we have this really great vibe and culture. We have 4 producing loan officers, 2 support staff, and everybody just gets along really well. Everybody is there to back each other up. We have somebody that's on a cruise right now. She just went out yesterday. So I've already got other team members willing to step up. And that's something that's tough. I mean, a lot of realtors and mortgage professionals are commission based.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not going to help you on your deal. Like I'm competing against you,
Right.
but it is that friendly competition. Everybody is there to support each other, which is really nice.
Cool. And so one of the guys you mentioned, Logan, before, he's
Yep.
one of those 4
He is.
LOs,
Correct.
and his focus, it seems like, is in Tampa Bay right now.
Correct.
But
yeah.
as a brand, are you guys serving the whole state? Are these 4 spread out?
Yeah, we are serving the whole state. I'm down in Fort Myers. My other 3 are in Orlando, but Logan is more on the west side, and he's coming out towards Tampa. His sister lives here. Again, we talked, there's just a lot of growth and booming business in Tampa. A lot of young professionals are moving to this area. So I think long-term, he might end up making the transition and moving out here. It's another untapped market. We've had pretty good success in Orlando.
Yep.
But when you're knocking on the same realtor doors and offices, and you're kind of, it's like, let's go be a fresh face in a new place and see who we can connect with over there as well.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So obviously there's no shortage of lending options, right? If you're an agent who follows our platform and our show, I mean, obviously they get bombarded a lot with different lending partner and so different things that they always want to bring to the table. What would you say is like important things that you think the agents who are local should know about you and your brand, whether those are, unique products, services that you feel like you could bring to the table, or anything else that you feel like differentiates you a little bit?
Yeah. So this is something I learned from one of my mentors. Is he always said, like, if you're talking to a real estate agent and you're saying like, what does your current lender do for you? And it's like, well, they answer the phone and they close on time. And it's like, okay, but what else is your lender doing for you other than closing loans on time does not count.
Should be part of the job.
That should be
go
expected.
without giving.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's really just supporting our partners in any way that they choose. Like I have a lot of realtor partners that they love social media. And it's like, okay, let's do something like this together where we podcast, or I come bring my videographer out and we do, a home tour for you or whatever. I have other realtor partners that want to do mailers. I have some realtors that just want to be left alone. They're like, I'm so busy, literally just answer the phone when I call. Like, I don't care if it's Saturday at 9:00 at night, just answer the phone. And that's one of the things is availability is one of your biggest assets as a salesperson in general, but especially as a loan officer, because our realtors are working outside of business hours. They're not showing people homes on Friday at 11 a.m.
Yep.
They're out Friday at 5, 6, 7 p.m., Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. So that's how I grew my business, was my availability, and we're still there. We always have somebody on call on the weekends. Of course, the products are nice, but you can find the products most places,
Sure.
right? So that's where it's really just comes down to your expertise
Customer
and your
service
availability,
experience.
man. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Now, are you, Greg, still spending time with, like, whether that's the agents directly or closing loans yourself,
Yep.
or so some of your time is still spent in that versus supporting the team and working with your people.
Yeah. So I have a right-hand man. His name's Andy O'Hara. He's my loan coordinator. I think I mean, crack the code. I think that we've got a pretty good model going right now that hopefully some other loan officers and different mortgage companies in the future will kind of look at. Basically, I'm able to go out and be more or less the shaking hands and kissing babies, the networking person. And then when the loans come in, I'm always doing that initial client consultation, talking through, qualification, loan products, interest rates, all that.
Yep.
But then as soon as that deal comes in, it's all the little things that get that time suck you, like, where's the appraisal at? Did they get home insurance? What's going on with underwriting? That's where Andy is our loan coordinator, and he manages that for my pipeline and for our team's pipeline. Now, as a loan officer, at the end of the day, getting your documents in, getting underwriting, getting all that done is your responsibility, right? But to have that support of Andy, that if I'm at a podcast, I just called him, hey man, I'm going to a podcast, I got a lunch, I might not be available till 3 p.m. Watch out for this, that, and the other. And then I just call him, hey, can you jump on this, jump on that? I mean, we're talking about the difference in, if I don't get to it today, it's Monday morning, 9 a.m. that something gets done versus he's getting it done while I'm here.
And that could
It's
be all the
huge.
difference in the world when it comes to whether the deal works or it doesn't, right?
Yeah. And realtors and clients, they want their answers now.
Yeah.
And even if they can't get their answer now, they're okay with waiting, but you got to respond. I'm not looking at my phone for the next hour or two.
Right.
They might call the next mortgage broker if I don't get back to them. So,
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are some of the ways that you found that you just love, connecting with agents? What are some of your favorite ways that you've gone about building that network, and in a way that is mutually beneficial for the agent as well as what's worked for you?
I don't want to
and
give
your
all my
brand?
secrets away, Don.
And that's why we're here. We're here to deliver the goods. That's how it works.
I'm just kidding. No, I got really lucky. I will say, I mean, this is kind of advice to other loan officers out there. Just say yes to everything. There's a funny movie, I'm not sure if you've seen it, Jim Carrey, Yes Man, where you just say
Man,
yes.
Of course.
It's like, say yes to opportunities. I will say, do you know the name Ken Pozak?
I don't.
So he's my business partner. He's really big in Orlando. He's #1 Keller Williams agent year to date so far in the entire country. His team, they have about 40 agents. I'm partnered with him on this project, Matek Mortgage. He's kind of one of my partners there, investors. But my relationship with Ken started about 6 years ago when it was him and 3 other agents. Now he's grown to who he is. But the way I got introduced to him was I met with a title agent that she happened to take a liking to me. We were working on some marketing stuff together. Her friend got denied by a bunch of people, couldn't get a loan. She said, why don't you call my friend? I remember being so nervous. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. If she's denied by everybody, how am I going to get it done?
Right.
I call her. I figure out a way to get the deal done. Her agent was this guy, Ken. And so that was my introduction to him. And for him, he's like, whoa, who's this young kid that got this deal done when everybody else said no? And now the rest is history. I mean, his team does $300, $400 million year to date. We're their #1 preferred lender. And it's just saying yes to opportunities. Like if I would have said, oh, I don't want to meet with a title agent, what can a title agent do for me as a loan officer? Even if you're a realtor, what do you if you're saying that, like, what can another loan officer wants to meet with me, another title rep, another insurance agent? It's like meeting and connecting with good people in your industry can lead to opportunities that you never expected. Even if you think that it's a street where they're wanting you to reciprocate, it can come back to you. We have a realtor that we've been working with for probably the last 6 months. Me and him have started to become friends, and we had a lead come in without a real estate agent, and I passed that off to him. I mean, he could have been scared about this big partnership I have with Ken and the Pozek group, but he was like, no, I believe in what you're doing. You're doing a lot of really cool stuff. He's been super loyal to me. We've built a friendship. Now we have an opportunity to feed that back to him, and now he got that's probably a 3% on a $400,000 house, $12,000 commission in his pocket.
Yeah, man.
So,
no, that's
some
great
cool stuff.
advice. I love the idea of just saying yes to opportunities because it's so easy not to.
Yeah.
Right? It's so easy
It
to
is.
just let your brain go down the road. If I'm too busy, this is gonna be a waste of my time. Blah 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 blah.
Nothing's ever a waste of your time. I've met with people that try to sell me on multi-level marketing things, and guess what? They end up buying houses too. So
Right.
everybody's your client if
Especially
you're a
in
realtor
real
and a loan
estate.
officer.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got to live somewhere.
Everybody's your client, man.
And it's great the story you told about how you built that relationship with Ken by just figuring out, even though you might not have known at the time, how you were going to find a way to get that deal done. But it's funny how when an opportunity presents itself and you were able to step into that opportunity and actually prove your worth by probably getting creative or whatever you had to do.
Well, I just think other loan officers, it was a busy time. It was like 2019, 2020. So like, the market was booming. I think other loan officers were just busy. It was a complicated file.
Yeah.
I didn't have any deals. I was like, I'll work on this.
I'll do whatever it
file
takes.
8 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
And look where it led, right?
Exactly.
It's a great lesson again for even people that are maybe even new as a real estate agent or in lending. Just take the opportunities because you never know where that next one's going to lead, right?
For sure, man.
That's good tips. So as far as like overall in working with agents, I'm curious your thoughts on like, what are some things that you feel like an agent maybe should know about how to make things even smoother in working with their lender? Maybe that's market specific to things that are happening today that you feel like are important for us to bring up.
Yeah.
Or just in general, like in your experience, I'm sure you've experienced good situations with agents and also maybe not so good, right? Situations with agents. So I'm curious your experience with both and see what you think.
It's a great question. I think every agent has a different mindset on their role in the mortgage process. I have agents that literally want to be on a 3-way call. They get permission from the client. Can I be on this initial call so I can understand everything going on? And clients might dictate that too. Some clients are like, no, let me talk to the lender. I don't want you to be involved. But having an in-depth understanding as a realtor of what's going on in the mortgage pre-approval process, what's going on in the underwriting process, is just going to make you a better asset to your clients. Yeah, you don't want to have to do the debt to income ratio, right? Like you tell your clients, hey, that's your lender. Like you want to do that. But my realtors that have the most success during the transaction with us and with leading to higher conversion with clients are the ones that can at least talk about mortgage stuff on the surface. You know, they're not going way underneath the iceberg, but they're up here on the top and they can talk about a few things. And that just leads the client to be like, wow, I'm working with a true expert. So learn from your loan officer when you're going through the process. Ask questions like, hey, I see that you pre-approved the client for $400,000. Like, is there wiggle room there? What's going on? And that's something that we always provide to our realtors. Like I'll tell clients all the time, hey, you want a $400,000 pre-approval? On paper, you're qualified for $600, but I'm going to tell your realtor that we want to be around $400. So I'm going to write the pre-approval for $400, but I'm going to share with them that you qualify for a little bit more. Or, hey, we've got to get this seller credit because they don't have the assets for their closing costs. Like those are things that obviously I think most realtors are in tune with their lenders, but if they're not, that's something that you really want to make sure. And that's why realtors like to send their business to preferred partners like that, like us, and you have that triangle of trust with a client. Is here's Bank of America across the street. If Bank of America writes a pre-approval, they're just putting a purchase price on there and their name, and they're sending it out. The realtor tries to call, hey, do I need closing costs? Are they doing down payment assistance? Is there anything funky on this deal? Do they need to file their taxes first? When can I close? They're calling at 5:05 p.m. They're not going to answer till Monday morning, maybe. And it might be Tuesday because that person that's the loan officer is on vacation or whatever. So just having that better communication is our value add, but realtors leaning into that and making sure that they're understanding like what's really going on with the pre-approval is going to make them look better to their clients, really.
Yeah, it sounds like just the importance of like really treating it like a true partnership so that you know, as an agent, a little bit of what that partner is doing, right, on their side. So you're not just viewing it as, hey, lending and finance, that's their
them,
job.
Yeah. Well, how you do it,
if it falls through, that's their fault.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Rather than
how you do one thing is how you do everything. The top realtors that I've partnered with over the last 5 years, the ones that are doing the most business are the ones that know the most about the mortgage process. And it's not just because they know about the mortgage process, is because they know everything about home inspections and appraisals. They're information and knowledge gatherers, right? And things are second nature, just rolls off their tongue, and people just flock to them because like, wow, this person is such an expert. That's what realtors' job is to become an expert in all things home services, mortgage, inspection, title, real estate, appraisal, all of that stuff. Totally. That's their job. So.
Yeah, man. We've obviously had many of them that are on this show regularly, and it's really about being a consultant, you know, a high-powered consultant that knows exactly how to also help through the emotional times that happen on every single transaction.
They're therapists too. Sorry, we got to add that.
All that stuff is mixed in. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. I'm curious again with the experience now, even though you have a baby face, I know you have some 9 years or so under your belt now with lending. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen that you've had to overcome? Maybe you can give an example if you want about like a deal or two, but just in general, like maybe something you weren't expecting in the lending world that you've had to overcome or had to deal with. What are some thoughts there that you have regarding challenges?
Well, first off, Don, I did leave the scruff here a little bit today to try to look a little older.
Didn't help, bro.
Okay.
Didn't help.
Yeah. So that's right. I can't. It'll take me a year to grow a beard like yours, bro. But anyway, so
this is like 2 days, by the way. I'm a hairy beast, Rob. What can I say?
I love it. So a big yeah, exactly. No, literally, I haven't shaved in a week. Like, and I got some peach fuzz. No, the big thing with the challenges of the mortgage industry, and this is like loan officer talking to loan officer. Like, unfortunately, only loan officers understand this. Is that there's just a lot of uncertain things that can happen during the underwriting process. So as important as a pre-approval is, the reason why there is a 30-day financing contingency in most contracts by standard is that there can be things that pop up during underwriting that even if you address them up front, even if you ask the questions, you still have to kind of like circumnavigate. So that's the thing. As a loan officer, you're a problem solver. I didn't realize. I thought it was like, oh, here's a pre-approval, here's my pay stubs, here's my bank account information, and here's your loan. You're good. No, like that's not how it works. You get pre-approved, which means we've looked at everything. Maybe an underwriter has looked at it and said they agree. Well, now you go through 30 days of a rigorous process of them asking questions like, why did you spend $7.52 on Starbucks last Wednesday, but then this Tuesday you only spent $2? It's like, what are you talking about? Like they'll just ask really invasive questions that you're like, what does this have to do with anything in the process? Usually if you answer the questions, you create the story and come with letters of explanation and stuff to underwriters, you'll get stuff done. But I just didn't realize how in the weeds it can get financially, even with somebody that's got all their finances in order. Hey, I've got my taxes filed, I've got my job, my this, that, my that, and the other. An underwriter's job is to look for any potential pitfalls. And so they're going to harp on those. They're not going to look at the positive and say, oh, even though this person has a ton of money, they just changed their job and they just changed commissions or whatever. They look at that stuff. So I didn't realize how much of a problem solver you have to be like on the job. It's pretty crazy.
Because you're basically operating as the middleman there between the underwriter and the agent in some cases, or the end buyer or whatever in some cases. Like it's really, you're the buffer, right? Between
and you don't want to tell your client that has an 800 credit score that's been paying everything on time for 20 years that their loan is on the fence. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, of course I can qualify for this. It's like, well, you haven't sold your house yet, so I know you don't have your big down payment, you don't have this, and based on these guidelines, you're really close. And so you got to present it to them. It's like, yeah, you're good. It's all good. It's all going to work out. But at the same time, you have to respect that sometimes there are things that just logically don't make sense within underwriting. You're like, how am I going to explain this? So it's a wild industry.
And a lot of times I'm assuming, and you would know better than me, that there's even many agents who don't really understand that or get that that's happening. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times I've had an agent call me like, oh man, I'm so excited. This is a slam dunk. Like they pulled up, and I don't mean to, be judgmental here, but they're like, they pulled up in an Escalade to this $300,000 townhome. I'm like, if they're driving a $150,000 Escalade, pulling up to a $300,000 townhome, doesn't that tell you something? I pull the credit report, the $1,800 Escalade payment, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, their DTI is 100%. They don't qualify for anything, So, unfortunately, that's judging the book by the cover. But unfortunately, it's like just because somebody has a nice car, has this or has that. I mean, I've talked to people that guy was a truck driver for 20 years, went to Rocket Mortgage, got pre-approved. He just changed jobs to a new job like 3 months ago, but he's paid by the load. So it's not a consistent salary or hourly rate. He's paid by the load. So he has to have a 1-year history, even though he's got 20 years of being a truck driver, because it's a whole new employer in a whole new state. He has to have a 1-year history of having that load pay. Rocket Mortgage charged him $100 for the credit report, $600 for the appraisal. 2 weeks before closing, they come back and say, oh yeah, you've only been on your job for 3 months with it's variable. You can't qualify for another 9 months. Whole deal blew apart. Listing agents pissed, sellers are pissed, buyer's agents stressed out and all that. And I told my buyer's agent, which she tried to introduce me, but the guy wanted to go to Rocket. I said, that literally would have taken me about 5 minutes to tell you no.
But I'm assuming that's kind of the fun part for you, right? Is that's where you get to sometimes step in and be like, hey, we have a solution here if we can just work together on this particular thing, right?
Exactly. Or just, I think unfortunately, we're all commission based, so like everybody wants to close a loan now, and sometimes the best advice to a client is like, hey, you're not ready now. And even if I can make it work now, you're going to be in a way better position, way better closing costs, way better interest rates, way better options if you just wait 3 months or 6 months to get your credit better or have more time on the job, or et cetera. And so that's where I think I've been fortunate enough to have enough business over the years that I can be a true advisor to my clients. I don't have to be I'm going to lay down and do whatever they want and jump through a bunch of hoops and charge them high interest rates to get them in a house now. I can be like, hey, this is where you're at now. If you want to do it now, we can do it. But if we work on these 3 things over the next 3 months, this is where you could be. And they're like, wow, I can get the down payment assistance, or I can get the 0.5% lower interest rate, or do that, this, that, and the other to improve my credit over the next few months. I'm going to wait. And then people, if you're a salesperson and somebody comes to you and you say, hey, I want to sell you something, but my product's not right for you right now, that person's, you're building trust with that person. You're not just
a level of
saying yes no matter what.
With that.
Exactly. So that's how we kind of operate. We're just advisors. I'm rambling, bro. I told you
I love it. Makes sense. Well, there's a lot of, it's funny how there is a lot of similarities between what it takes to be a top producer as a real estate agent and also a top producer in the lending world.
For sure.
Right? It is that consultant mindset. I think is a trait that both parties have to have in order to be great and to do it well.
Yeah, the
And
realtors that I know that struggle are the ones that tell every single client, every single home they walk into, this is the perfect house for you. It's like, what? Are you
I was just going
listening
to
to
ask
them?
you
Like,
that. So like my
yeah.
next kind of question had to do with common mistakes that you've seen agents make specifically that from your perspective have either set the wrong expectations, which make things a lot harder, right? To actually be the consultant that you know you need to be, because you got to be honest eventually to tell them the truth. So are there some common things you've seen? Maybe hopefully they're not the top producing agents, but just in general that agents have done that they should look out for.
Yeah, for sure. And it's even mistakes that I've made as well early in my career of wanting, again, to like, instead of being an advisor, just I know what the client wants, so I'm going to do everything in my power to get them what they want. If you have the difficult conversation up front and say, hey, this isn't in your budget or this isn't the right time or what have you, they're going to respect you, and then they're going to appreciate you even more when it does come to be the right time. So for agents specifically, just that, like saying every single house is the dream house, like this is going to be perfect, like jump on it now, the time to buy is now. Like not every client needs to hear that. Some clients do need to be pushed. Like they are just like out there window shopping. They can afford it. It is a good investment for themselves and their family. They really need to buy a house, but they're scared. And so that's where they need to as an agent, to be a little bit more aggressive. But I would say 80% of the time, agents are being more aggressive than they're not meeting their clients where they're really at. And especially in a market like this where there's a lot of uncertainty, it's like home values are like pulling back a little bit, but rates are still high. Like what's going on? And so a lot of people that waited and didn't buy in 2020, 2021, and 2022, they already have that timid nature. That's why they didn't buy then. And so just understanding what your clients' expectations are and meeting them and understanding what's really important to them is crucial. I mean, that's something that we used to do on all of our initial client calls was we would send out an all about you form. Now that I'm saying it, I need to remember to do that. It was something that I did at my prior company where I would ask them like, do you have a trusted financial advisor? Do you have a plan for savings? Do you have a will? What's your favorite sport? What's your favorite pet? Like, do you have children, whatever? And so you get an idea. And once you get that form, and it's not something you have to, as a realtor, send to your clients and just ask them to fill out. But if you use that as your cheat sheet on your buyer consultation to ask them, like, do you have pets? Yeah, I have a dog. Okay, well, now you know, oh, you probably want a yard for your dog, right? So now I know I'm not showing them condos in downtown Tampa. I'm going to show them single family residences. So just asking those questions that give you that upfront ability to have a better understanding of what they want, because that is one thing in sales that they say is the first objection or the first thing that a potential prospect tells you is usually not really the deeper meaning. So you have to go with those deeper questions to find out what's really going on for them.
Yeah. Once again, it goes back to the importance of being a true consultant right, from the get-go. And I think any agent, I share all the time with our network that there was 24,000 real estate agents who were licensed anyway in Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Last year, 2024. Wow. That's Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County.
24,000?
Yeah, but 10,000 of them did not do a single deal.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then another about 6,000 more did 2 deals or less, so 1 or 2 deals.
Yeah.
So you just look at those numbers and you're like, wow. Now, obviously there are people who have a license but have no intention of actually working. So that is a percentage of that.
Yeah.
But there's also people who got a license because they thought they were actually going to make money and do the job the right way, and they just couldn't find traction for whatever reason and didn't get a mentor, didn't get help, didn't get whatever.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think a lot of times it's that mentality that people can almost smell commission breath, right?
Yeah,
if you don't have that consultant viewpoint early in the process, it's just hard to really be viewed as someone they can trust.
Yeah. Well, it's an industry that, I mean, when I first got in the industry, I was lucky enough to be a processor and learn the back end. So if you're a real estate agent getting in, like joining a team where, they might take a 50% split or 60% split, but would you rather have 50 or 60% of something? Or if you take your 100% split, have 100% of nothing, right? And so I was working as a processor getting a salary. Then I became a junior loan officer, whereas working underneath a producing loan officer and basically being what would be like a transaction coordinator or a showing assistant to a top producing realtor. I was that loan partner that I would get a small, basis point per loan close, but it taught me a lot. It got me in front of clients where I'd have those conversations. Then eventually I was like, oh, I can do this on my own. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the tough part about being a real estate agent is that you're jumping off in the deep end if you're going by yourself and you don't have, it's sink or swim at a lot of these brokerages. So that's where I think if you really want to make a career out of it, you got to expect that the first 9, 12, 18, 24 months are going to be pretty hard. You might be struggling a little bit, might be working a side job, but you really want to get you don't want to try to do it all on your own. You want to get involved with a team or a brokerage that has that support, around. So.
Yeah, it's a common advice that I have a lot of the top producers who share is the key in their early days was getting a mentor, right? And having that team that they hooked up with that taught them the ropes. And now some of the most successful agents all in Tampa Bay have that same story.
Yeah, because a lot of people think it's just like opening doors. Like they see the, I don't know, selling Sunset and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, just like it's a fun job. It's like, no, being a real estate agent is a grind.
There's a whole reality to it, for sure.
Yeah, so much respect to the realtors out there, man.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So good advice so far. I want to give a couple of minutes on personal side for people to get to know you a little bit more and know your story if they don't. Now, one question I did have before we get into that was you were mentioning earlier you guys have a couple different markets that you're working in. Obviously, Logan and now has been coming to this market a little bit. When you target a market, let's say Tampa Bay, right, and you have a strategy, I'm assuming, as to how you want to go about building your brand now, right, in the Tampa Bay market. What does that look like? What should agents expect as far as seeing Matek and hearing from you guys? And what is your go-to way that you try to get branding and get a connection going in the community?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a big thing is going to events. So you were just mentioning some of the Tampa Bay Real Producers events. We're going to start getting in front of those, getting at those events more, getting in front of the people that are committed. And then it's finding those people probably from those events that are also committed to building their own business in the community. And it might be a home inspector that is a vendor of Tampa Bay Real Producers, that person specifically really likes getting out in the community, and whether they want to do mailers or they want to, work an open house or I used to do so many things. We would do like pop-up business, like almost like what would be a job fair. We'd pop up our tent, mortgage and real estate. So just getting involved, boots on the ground is the best way. Now there's digital imprint that you have with social media, and you can do a bunch of stuff with that and running ads, but I still like the old school way of just getting in front of people, going to different networking events, meeting them. We used to pop by a bunch of open houses, man. That's what it is. We used to go to open houses, man. You go to an open house on the weekend, pop by 12 open houses, drop off your card with a banana and a water to realtors and say, hey, I'm so and so and I'm here, I'm in the community, I just want to introduce myself. You get their contact info, you follow up with them. Yeah, you might only make one or two deep connections from that, but you do that every week, 52 weeks, like you're going to meet a lot of people.
Without a doubt.
So
should people expect that face or that person to be Logan in this local market? Would you? It
would be mostly Logan.
Mostly Logan out here. Yeah.
Again, just back to kind of my plan is like, I really want to be more or less a CEO, a sales manager, a leader in a sense of, I'm going to produce with some of the realtors that I've had connections with over the last few years, but I'm not looking to grow necessarily individual realtor partnerships. I want to help other loan officers build their businesses. And so that's my main focus. So we're going to get Logan over here. We've got Suzanne and Christy in Orlando and myself down in Fort Myers, hopefully going to add on. We're talking to 3 loan officers right now, actually, hopefully to grow the team a little bit more in 2025.
Very cool. It's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll get a little personal with you here. So what's your story? Married, kids, dating? Are you looking for a family? Where are you at? Where are you at in the mode?
My second family's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but my first family's, no, I am married. I'm fidgeting with my ring here because I usually wear the rubber band, but my wife likes this better. So I wore the gold band today. I just got married in December, actually.
Really? Congratulations.
So yeah, man,
very exciting. How long were you guys dating?
So about 6 years.
Okay.
And that was the thing that was so great about like life hack, getting a great partner, having a great spouse. Like me and my now wife, Rachel, we'd been dating since I was first starting the mortgage business. Like I had nothing going on. I think, and my
She's
wife's
seen the rough, Greg Matthews.
Yeah, she has. And she's a physician, so she does pretty well herself. She's extremely ambitious, very type A. And I think when we first met, even her own dad was like, is this guy just trying to ride my wife's or hit my daughter's coattails kind of thing, But she was in residency. She was grinding, working long hours. I was building my business. Her dad actually was in the mortgage industry for decades, is retired now. But so she's seen what it's like to like work hard, work on the weekends. We were doing like, okay, we go to dinner Saturday night, then Sunday morning, I'm going to an open house from 10 to 2. Then I'll go pick her up. We'll go to the farmer's market. I'm taking calls. Like she's super cool and understanding with that, which is what it takes. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have success as a loan officer, especially as a real estate agent, but their spouse isn't, they're not on the same page with their spouse. Yeah. So it's creating a rift at home. It's like, why are you out showing houses again? It's like, well, I'm showing houses so I can put food on the table, and I enjoy it. I love this family, So we have a really great relationship. Been 6 years now, 3 months married. It's only gotten better in the last 3 months of being married, and so no kids yet. Just got married, and hopefully maybe work
Both
on
seem to be
kids
pretty
soon.
busy. I mean, kids might be a hard thing to manage for the future, right?
Yeah,
That could be a game
We're
changer.
we're hoping grandparents will be around to help out a little bit.
That's good too. Is your family in this area?
So my parents are in Orlando.
Okay.
They're there. They raised me there, and then her parents are in Naples. So that's what
Cool.
worked great about her. The reason why we moved to Fort Myers 2 years ago was she got a great job at the Children's Hospital down there in Fort Myers, and her parents are 30 minutes away in Naples, so it works great. Got babysitters. In the mortgage industry, you can kind of work anywhere. You're always on the road, so worked out great.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, congrats again.
Thanks,
Rachel,
buddy.
you said?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yep.
Shout out to Rachel.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go on the honeymoon?
We went to Australia.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
pretty
Not
sweet.
bad. I've never
Yeah.
been. It's on my list, though.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. I
Yeah?
loved
What
it
parts of
laying down
Australia did you
there.
hit up?
So we started off in Sydney. We went to Melbourne. I'm a big tennis fan, so we went to
Okay.
Melbourne for the Australian Open.
Did you play that too? Baseball?
I played a little bit of tennis growing up, but baseball was my main sport.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably should have played more tennis, but now I played as an adult recreationally. It's great to stay in shape, man.
Yeah,
I love
it
playing
is.
tennis. So we
I
did
grew
that.
up in Connecticut, but there was a tennis court that was like right by our house, so I played a little bit growing up with the neighborhood kids. So I was just hitting around the court. But I started getting fairly good at the serving process. Once
Okay.
just getting out.
Do you
there
play
hacking.
now?
Not really.
No.
I play a little bit more pickleball.
I was gonna say
though.
pickleball though. Yeah,
so
it's
more
picked up,
pickleball,
yeah.
but baseball's been
taking
more
off
my
like
thing.
crazy.
I still play on a softball team.
Okay.
And then now that I've been coaching my boys, it's more about helping out, helping them with the little league side.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man.
I coached baseball as well. I coached my alma mater, my previous high school, a few years ago when I was in Orlando. It's so much fun, man. I love being at the
Yeah, me
ball
too.
field. So you gotta be enjoying that.
Yeah,
with
it
the
is.
kids.
It's a blast. I have 6 little ones, so
Six?
that's a whole other story.
Done. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we like to. I
I love it.
Yes,
No,
we-
I love big families. My dad's one of 4. My mom's one of 4. I wanted 4. She wanted 2. We've agreed on 3. We have 0.
There you go.
But we're working on
Well,
it.
there's still time. Still time.
No. We're gonna get started.
What do you guys love to do for fun other than travel to Australia?
Just travel in general, man. Like we really like to get around. We were looking at our calendar for this summer, like, oh my goodness, we have so much. And that's the beauty of like her job is 7 days on, 7 days off. So she gets like extended periods of time off. I can work anywhere, phone, internet. So we do a lot of traveling. We're foodies. We love going to nice restaurants and trying new foods. She'll eat anything like crazy. I'm like, I'll have a piece and try it. So
Do you have a favorite meal, favorite food?
I'm obsessed with Chipotle, bro.
Chipotle, yeah, not bad spot.
Obsessed
Not a
with
bad spot.
No, like I'm obsessed.
Just had it 2 nights
with it.
ago.
Well, I've had it twice in the last 2 nights.
There you
like,
go.
I can eat it every single meal of every single day. Like I've had it 10 times a week before, numerous times.
Yeah, I'm not that obsessed, but
three,
it is good.
3 times at lunch, 6 times at dinner. Yeah,
It is good. All right, a couple rapid fire questions for you. Do you have a favorite book, author, seminar that you ever attended that you feel like has really made a huge impact on you, personally or professionally?
Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. If you haven't read that, it's fantastic. David Goggins is the Navy SEAL that he has a story. He was like 300 something pounds, was watching an ad one day about Navy SEALs and decided he was going to lose 150 pounds, join the Navy SEAls. And he's a pretty BAMF.
Yeah, he is.
Or he is a stud. So Can't Hurt Me was
I followed
great.
some of his YouTube content and whatnot.
I mean,
That's some
it
great
was.
stuff.
So, are you familiar with the program 75 Hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done it. This is now my 3rd time. I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
Today's day 32 for me. But the first time I got introduced to it, I had tried probably 20 times and failed. Got to a week, got to a month, whatever, and failed. And then the first time I did it was 2 years ago, and I started. The first book I read, because you have to read 10 pages of book, was Can't Hurt Me. And after reading that book and being done with it in 3 weeks, I was like, "There's no way I'm not doing it this time." I got all the way to day 75. So just really great motivation.
Yeah, I've never read that book though.
Oh,
It's
dude, it's
definitely,
great.
I'm a
Gotta
huge
check it
reader
out.
myself. I'll have to scoop it up. So it's all about the mentality, right?
It's mentality. It
Yeah.
tells his life story. So it's a little bit of an autobiography, and it tells about how to get through hard times and just appreciate everything you're going through is making you who you're becoming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I think a lot of us get down on ourselves, like in sales, we get rejected or the deal didn't go through or whatever, and it's
Right.
like we get into this place of like, oh, I feel sorry for myself. It's like no victim mentality. He's talking about he was beaten as a kid, like really rough environment, not sleeping, dealing with racism in Indiana and all this kind of stuff, and he's just like, I kept feeling sorry for myself. And then eventually one day I was like, nobody's coming to save me.
Yeah.
Like it's me or me. And
Right.
so he chose himself. So it's I'm getting goosebumps. It's super inspiring.
Yeah, it's funny you even mentioning that because I feel like I think I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 44 now, and in my age bracket, even a lot of friends that I went to school with, there eventually becomes this feeling of like where I call it where people should themselves to death, right? Because they feel like, oh, my life should be at this point, but it's not where it should be, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that was a vision they had for where they were going to have, how much money they'd have or their family or whatever it is, right? So we all have these visions when our 20s or even 30s about where we'll be in 10 years.
Right.
And those are all good things to have. And obviously putting the right plans in place will get you there. But there are, I think, a lot of people, especially in those middle-aged frames, I guess that's where the whole midlife crisis thing comes from,
Right.
where they start to shoot themselves to death. So this concept that you're talking about with Goggins, just that mentality of realizing that where I'm at today and the struggles that I've been through, everything's designed the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And I'm where I'm supposed to be. I can learn from it, make the mistakes I made, and continue to be better every single day. I think that's
Don't
a really
let it
healthy
define
way.
you now. Like, just
Right.
because it happened in the past, like the past is the past. Like nobody's coming to save you from your past. Like you got to get through it and you got to move forward. So I mean, there's this whole new
You got guys like Colonel Sanders becoming a multimillionaire in his 70s, right?
Exactly.
So, you never
yeah.
know.
Like there's so many people that are like, oh yeah, it's I should have done this or should have done that, and it's like, no, you can do it now.
Right.
So
Today is the day, my man.
That's right.
Seize the
Carpe
day.
diem.
Carpe diem. That's what we're preaching over here today.
Yes,
Favorite movie or TV show?
Oh man,
If you have one.
Yeah, I mean, Remember the Titans is my all-time favorite movie.
I like that.
Like I
like
love
that.
sports movies, and then second would be Miracle. Just team sports
You
movies.
like some
where-
classic corny
where
Disney
you
movies.
get people coming together, man. Like I am the corny, the cheesy,
the sport Disney movies. I am a huge fan, I must say. I used to play I used to sell Cutco knives. I told you off camera,
Yeah.
and we would have our sales team. So we would try to inspire them and go out and knock doors and blah blah blah. So Miracle was my go-to movie, right? Like
it.
that scene where he's doing his message to the locker room.
Yep.
Get these knife kids fired up, man.
Oh,
Let me
dude,
tell you,
it's awesome. Yeah, this is your time. I love that shit. Kurt Russell in my
that's right.
veins.
Their time is done.
Yes, the best, dude.
Classic,
Yes.
classic. I love it. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, man.
All right, we're gonna put a bow here on our episode, but it was good to have you here. I'm glad
Cool.
we got a chance to meet, and hopefully you won't be a stranger. And even though Logan might be more local here to Tampa Bay, I hope that we can see you at some of our events and
Definitely,
getting involved in this market a little bit more. But we'll end with this. So I call this the legacy question. When you do think about that time, hopefully many years from now, Greg, when you're sitting on that rocking chair and thinking back to your legacy, right, and what you'd want to be most remembered for, personally or professionally. What are some things that come to mind that would mean the most to you?
That's awesome. I run a lot, and so I was thinking about something similar the other day on a run. I get some really good ideas when I'm running, and I knew that this podcast was coming up, and I was just like, what do I envision, the future wanting to look like? And I think it's all about your impact on other people, and so that's your spouse, children, friends, parents, other family members, your colleagues that you work with. People that are your mentees and your mentors both. So it's not just in one direction. It's not like I just want to grow the biggest company ever and that kind of thing. It's like I just want everybody to think that I had a great impact on their life, and so that's where we are as realtors and mortgage professionals, helping people achieve the dream of home ownership. Like that is a big deal. I think we take that for granted because it's like we're just trying to close the deal. We're just trying to get through the stress, just trying to do that. But we are having a positive impact on people. So making sure that we're leaning into that, doing the one little thing that we can to go above and beyond, writing that handwritten thank you card, bring in that closing gift, making a personalized video text or something like that to people goes a really long way. And that's what I want to be remembered for. I feel like I've done a pretty good job at that at times. Other times you get busy, life gets in the way, and you just don't show people that you appreciate them as much as you really do. But at the end of it, when it's all said and done on the gravestone, I want to be like, he was a great friend. He was really caring. He was just a good person. Whether I grow a huge mortgage company or whether I decide to be a stay-at-home dad and let Rachel take care of me, either way, as long as I'm having a good impact on people, that won't happen. I'm not retiring. I'm not getting out of the business. I had one of my realtors the other day joking about like, yeah, we're in this for the long haul. I'm in it for the long haul. Like I love this business, even though I complain about it sometimes. It's super rewarding. I love seeing other people, have success in it with the loan officers that I brought on, and we're going to keep growing that, and we'll see what happens, man.
That's cool. Good stuff, man.
Appreciate you having me on, Don.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
it's our
buddy.
pleasure. It really is. I'm glad. Obviously, we love the support that you guys are able to bring to our platform, because without people like you, we can't do what we do. And ultimately, we want to make sure we have the right partners for the agents that are out there. So I love hearing about your story and figuring out what went into getting you to where you are today. So hopefully this was helpful for the agents as well. We always try to end every episode with a challenge. And let me just say this too. If somebody did want to reach out to you directly, or Logan, I guess, and just pick your brain a little bit more and like some of the specifics you had mentioned, or any sort of products or deals that they want to bring to the table, or just kind of connect on your the people you're working with, in these different markets? What's the best way for someone
So
to
we
reach you?
post a lot of stuff on like market updates and things like that and programs on social media. Instagram's the biggest one. So I'm at Greg Mortgages. So just GREG Mortgages. And then our company page is Matek Mortgage, at Matek Mortgage on Instagram. So that's the best way to stay in tune with us and DM me or what have you. And we'll take it from there.
Sounds good. All right. So as we always do, guys, we want to end the episode with a challenge to the audience. So whether you're watching on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, or you're listening in on any of the 15 plus podcast platforms out there, what is one action step that you can take from our conversation today with Greg that's going to help propel you forward personally or professionally? Maybe there was something about our conversation about the biggest mistakes that agents make, and you've been identifying, what? I've done that before. Maybe that's something that I need to be more clear about. Maybe I need to be better with my expectations with my buyers. Maybe I need to be more of a consultant, even on the lending side, and ask certain questions to my lending relationships so that I can be more, in tune of how to be all of those things that a top producer would bring right to the table. Maybe you just got to pick up the David Goggins book that Greg threw out there. But what is it for you? What's one thing, just a little thing that you can do today that'll help propel you forward? It's about those little actions that we take every day. And if you took the time to listen to this, then I want you to take action on it, right? Do something that's going to help move you forward. We, of course, will see you at on our next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. You can check us out too at topproducersnation.com to learn about our online community with courses and coaching to help you become a top producer in your desired market. And if you need support, we are here to help you be able to do that as well. And lastly, if you are local to the Tampa Bay market, we have our Agent Choice Awards coming up on August 24th, actually at this hotel at the West Shore Grand Plaza. You can nominate your favorite agents, all different categories. We have 15 different categories. It was released recently, and all you have to do is go to TBRP, Tampa Bay Real Producers, TBRPawardsvoting.com, and you can nominate your favorite people there. We will have finalists released, and the voting will go nuts for the next month as we start awarding those people on April 24th. So we'll see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. See you later.